Okay. Peace, you guys. Welcome to Just Us Jenkins. If you are seeing me for the first time, I am Jamillah, stay-at-home homeschool mama of 3 beautiful babies. I'm also a certified Reiki master, lineage healer, generational curse breaker, and owner of HealingMama.com. You guys, we are back for another episode of Motherhood Realness podcast. And tonight I have my beautiful sister-in-law, Beesh. All right. Before we get into the podcast, we're talking about healing childhood trauma, breaking generational trauma for motherhood. Okay. And a couple of reminders. Readings, you guys, if you missed out on last month's $22.22 readings, you're gonna be really hating yourself, okay? Because this month they're back at their regular price of $111, okay? And I have 3 more spots for Pisces readings, which I might extend because Pisces season is lasting until March 19th. Yeah. So if you are interested, shop the website. Motherhood Realness podcast is every Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and Motherhood Oracle readings every Sunday with your girl. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my beautiful sister-in-law, Beesh. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey y'all, I'm Beesh, mother of 2 only children because of 12 years apart. I'm a natural Reiki and suicide survivor and advocate. And here I am. Hi.
And she's also a work from home mom.
Oh, yeah. I'm a work from home mom too. I'm actually at my desk right now as we speak.
Yes.
Not working though. I am not working.
When you're a mom, when are you not working?
Why you got to call me out like that?
When you're a wife, when are you not working?
When I'm sleeping? Question mark.
That's all. I swear.
Sometimes you still get woken up.
Right. You do the most work in your sleep, I feel like, you know.
It's when I start processing the days and the weeks and the months and all the things. And then there's, when you're having the dreams.
Oh,
right?
Them dreams, they'll get you.
Yeah. Like we all know, I don't like my dream husband. My dream husband is a jerk.
Oh,
straight up a jerk. But I love my real life husband.
Yes, he's good.
He's good.
Her real life husband is one of Jarvis's older brothers, and he's my tall twin.
He's just a little taller than I am.
Yeah.
No, I come up to you about his armpits. It's great.
You do. You're at perfect height.
Just a little itty bitty thing.
All right, you guys. So I want to start off tonight with a quote, okay? So once again, we're talking about healing childhood trauma, breaking generational trauma, so you can live your best mommy, wife life, whatever path you're choosing to go down. So you can live your best life. Okay. It's crazy to think that our parents are traumatized by their parents, who are also traumatized by their parents, who are also traumatized by their parents. And it just keeps going until someone decides to reevaluate and get help for the sake of healing their family lineage. And, you guys know I'm in the business, the spiritual business of healing myself and helping heal other mothers, because when we're whole and healed, it trickles down, it has a trickling down effect to our children. It projects over to our husband and then all the other people that we love in our life. So, whatever dynamic you are in, self-healing. Okay. So, signs of generational trauma this is passed down. Generational trauma is passed down through energy and DNA, because we're not just a physical vessel, we're also an energetic vessel. And our nervous system, our DNA cells, they remember everything. So, signs to start your healing, are unexplained anxiety, persistent guilt or shame, reoccurring patterns, identity struggles, like reoccurring patterns. I forgot to mention, you guys. You're just like your mom, or you're just like your dad, or you're just like this aunt or uncle. There's a pattern here because it's in the DNA, right? Um, Identity struggles, avoiding tough talks, and it feels too much. Wait, you feel too much or you feel too little. Okay. So, Beesh, girl, you know I'm long-winded, girl. What are some things you have done differently in your motherhood journey compared to past generations?
Communication. Can we just say that? Communication. Communication. I think that for me is the biggest thing. And also paying attention to perspectives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perception is everything. And when you're watching, there's a difference between your perspective and your kid's perspective. And I've learned that it's not about my perspective. Who gives a shish kebabs about my perspective? It's about my child's. So being more aware of that and then communicating with them just changed. It changed my entire life and the way I mother my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think communication, again, is the biggest key to everything, but especially when you're ready to break that generational trauma. Because you gotta talk it out, right? You got to journal it out. You got to get those brain dump. You got to brain dump.
Yes.
That's it.
And a lot of my friends, I'm just like you. We have different like age groups of friends and stuff like that, but I think that's a major similar experience we all share, that the past generations, they didn't communicate. I know growing up, now that I'm in the hustle and bustle of life, like you're busy adulting, and sometimes it's hard to communicate what's going on with you, or stop and listen to what, like actually listening and zoning in what's trying to be communicated to you from your children. So yes, girl, that communication is a game changer for everything. I feel like I think we were talking about it for friendship, motherhood, your relationship, learning each other's like communication style
and boundaries. Boundaries.
Yes. Setting the boundaries. Girl, that is an everyday practice and everyday struggle.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I sometimes you get so drained. We're moms, we're taking on everything and everyone, the kids, the spouses, the family, everything. And sometimes after a while, it's so hard to communicate after you've gone through that mental marathon. But the thing is you have to keep it right there, the forefront of your brain. And remember that even when you're mentally drained, that is the best time to communicate those things.
Yeah.
Even if it is to communicate your boundaries, like, I think it was actually just a week or so ago, with my oldest daughter. She lives in Washington, so I don't get to see her at all. And I miss her like crazy. That girl's my best friend. I love her so much. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like I have, as much as I want to talk to her, sometimes I can't because I'm so emotionally drained. So instead of just ghosting her, I tell her, it's like, baby girl, I'm not doing okay. I'm overstimulated. I need to calm down. And being able to communicate that with her, she was just like, okay, mom, I'm good. She understands, because we need to get that understanding to get that acceptance. And you guys, you'll hear me say that a lot. Because it's that's what it's about.
Yes. And also creating a safe space for your children to communicate with you too. Like, I know that's another thing we talk about, like, oh, I was scared to say this, I was scared to say that. And some other friends have said that too. Like, I just was scared to communicate. So as we are healing and becoming, women, reparenting ourselves and stuff like that, you have to feel safe to communicate. And so if you need that as a mom, as a woman, then your children need that too.
Amen, sister.
Okay, girl. How do you, or how have you reparent yourself in motherhood?
By starting the process of breaking that generational trauma. So my oldest one, I had her when I was 21 years old. Growing up, with her, like, I grew up with her. She grew up with me. It was a team effort type thing. But her and I talk about this all the time. Like, when she, her little tween years and early years and stuff, it was always, my way or the highway. I was very strict. And as she got older, I kind of found that I'm repeating those patterns that I was raised with. And then, I had my youngest daughter in my 30s, mid 30s. So kind of a couple years apart, right? And the oldest is like, she'll ask me, it's like, if I would have done that, you would have whooped my butt, or you would have had me sitting on the can for, forever at a time, and or this or that, or this or that. I've been grounded for a month. I was like, I'm learning, and I'm growing. And I'm sorry that I didn't have the tools that I did when I was younger.
Yes.
And to raise you.
Yes.
And you are teaching me how to be a better mom, because we communicate, right? So it's like, I know when to take responsibility for my mistakes. And I'm able to ensure that I'm not going to continue making those mistakes, down to my youngest. So it's like, to me, is it worth the fight? Choose your battles, right? Yeah. That's what I have learned. And, talking to your child like they're human beings.
Yes.
How many moms do we know sit there and talk to our kids like they're just little? They don't know any better.
Yeah.
I've been guilty. I'm pretty sure you have too.
Oh, and yeah.
How many other moms? But I've learned, like, with my oldest, I am so open and honest with her with everything. I actually started becoming open and honest. She was give and take around 14, I think. And I came out and I told her, like, all the things. Ever since then, our relationship grew, because she got to understand where I was coming from, to the way she can communicate with me to tell me, okay, you're crossing those boundaries, Mom, or not. Her and I have such a weird dynamic, and it's the best dynamic. I would not change it for the world. Yes, I'm a mom first to her. Second, I'm her best friend, and she's my best friend.
Oh, I love that.
Freaking love her. Where is she? I have to call her now. Yeah.
I love that you say the things you just said, because it's true. Like, from a spiritual aspect, our children come to us, and it's because they're our teachers. Like, kids don't get enough credit. They are teachers if you just pay attention. And honestly, that Janess, my oldest, she was the catalyst for my healing journey, When she came, I was just like, it was like this. I don't even know. I can't even explain it to you, girl. You know the freaking joke little thing where you open it and the freaking snakes pop out? That's like the energy that I felt. Like the lid had been ripped off, and I'm like, whoa, I don't know what this is. But I gotta do something different. And she's just a tiny little baby, you know? But yes, more normalization that kids are people too. They're not possessions, they're not freaking pets, or, you know, like they need so much nurturing and loving and support, and not you to always be like, you know, like, yeah, we're supposed to keep them together. But I mean, there's so many times that I wish going through anything in childhood that instead of getting scolded, that I would have just gotten embraced, you know?
I think we talked about this recently too. It's the whole, ready for this, ready for it? Understanding and acceptance.
Yeah.
If we can talk to our children and explain the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like in my work life, you know, there's changes are happening. There's, you know, these asks of us that we're supposed to do. How are we expected? Are we expected to just be thrown in and figure it out?
No.
Or do we have these things where there's explanations, you know, the why behind it?
Mm-hmm.
If you can understand the why behind it, you can do your job. You can accept it and do it. Same thing with your kids.
Yeah.
You know, our kids' minds, they're not fully developed yet.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand the world
Mm-hmm.
like we do. And for us to say, because I said so.
Oh, girl.
I've been guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, oldest. But I've been guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned with little that I'm able to say, well, this is why we don't go out walking 1.5 miles up the road, because we're not in the safest world.
Right.
Right? So this is the why. Can you accept this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for my own safety, I'm not going to go do that, you know, so I can come back home to mom. So, okay, yeah. I get that. I understand that. They're just the littlest things. And it comes down, again, to communication.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, because I remember growing up, nothing was ever explained. It was because I said so, because I said so. And I catch myself now, because, right, I've done that too. And I'm like, I'll say, can you just give me just a minute? Let me get my thoughts together. Let me get my attitude in check. So I can explain to you why.
I tell little all the time, stop, relax, think. Okay, now speak. And I have her do that, and I do it to her as well. Like, because sometimes my mind's going, so I'm like, okay, mommy, stop, breathe, think. All right, now let's talk.
Yes. Yes.
And it literally can take 20 seconds, not even 20 seconds. Just get together. And it's, you know, it helps with that natural healing within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I feel that for us, like we got generational trauma. We got some mommy issues. But when I find myself stopping, breathing, thinking, and then speaking,
mm-hmm.
I find myself that I'm breaking that generational trauma. Yeah. And you know what, girl? That is a fucking thing to celebrate. I am celebrating that.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing something for my child at this point, and not just for me.
Yeah.
But in turn, it is for me, because I'm raising a damn good child because of it.
Yes. And then you're going to have happy, healthy grandkids and great grandkids.
You know, that's a sensitive subject for me. My daughter's a little selfish right now, the oldest. She's 22, right?
She's just a baby.
I know she is. But you know what? I was 21 when I had her. So, you know, she is too young to have kids. I tell her that all the time. But, you know, selfishly, I need a damn grandkid.
That's what you have Nori for.
She's off with her dad.
See how they do? As soon as the daddy comes, they go. But you know what, Bish? That is part of reparenting, I feel like, is helping, if you didn't always get the opportunity, like how Beach is saying, calm down, regroup, collect yourself. Reparenting yourself is helping your now grown-up self learn how to self-regulate so you can teach your kids how to do that. So when they go into adulthood, and this is the whole part of breaking the generational trauma, the patterns, because it's learned behavior, they're able to self-regulate, because you took the time to reparent your inner child, which is now, crossing over to your adult self. And that is like the cycle. That's breaking the cycle. So that's really freaking cool. That's a superpower.
I gotta throw this in. For the longest of time, I always had like generational traumas. My job as the child, to understand what my mom went through,
right?
To understand and accept that. But how does that affect me? Like, who's doing the actual work on here?
Yeah.
And then I found that it's about forgiving. That's what I thought it was. It is none of those things.
Yeah.
Because it's okay to not forgive. My thing is learning and repairing for the future.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And definitely, having compassion, but, we are on our own journey now. And we have these big babies and we have these little babies that need us to regroup, communicate, and do all those things. So it's breaking the cycle. So yes, girl, yes. Gold star for us. Okay, girl. What advice do you have for moms starting their inner child healing journey?
One, like I just said before, you don't need to forgive. Okay. You can accept what they did by moving forward and learning and stuff. One of the biggest things that actually kind of enlightened me just a few months ago, I was having a horrible just mental day. And I was just not okay. My head was just buried with stuff. And I decided, instead of just holding all that in, I grabbed a notebook and I just started writing and writing and writing. And the funny thing is, what I was actually upset about in the beginning had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with that person. I came to realize it had to do everything with the way I grew up. You're able to find the root. And that's one thing that's so awesome about journaling, is finding that root. Because if you can get to that root, you can mess with it, do those little whatever things and rearrange it to make it bloom into a beautiful flower rather than a weed type thing. I even went out so little. I had teacher conference, and then there was a book fair afterwards. Oh yeah. I went in there, took her, she bought all her things. Oh yeah, I bought me some things too. So I bought me a journal.
Oh, it's cute.
Journal. Tell me, is this not the cutest little thing?
Yes. Your inner child totally bought that.
It really so was. I was so excited. I'm like, oh, it's so adorable. But yeah, doing these little things, I think really helps to break those. Again, like you just said, that was my inner child that bought that, because growing up, okay, maybe I would have. I don't know. I'm a big kid inside most days.
Always.
Yeah. But I think just doing that, starting with journaling, because, things get really shuffled and muffled and mixed up in your brain.
Jeez.
And when you start writing down, you just write down those words, brain dumping. Does it
Mhm.
have to make sense? Absolutely not. You could write gibberish, but as long as you know what you're talking about and you can find that root.
Mhm.
Like I wrote that entry still, I haven't gone back and read it at all because it's quite dark.
Yes.
But the thing is, I still remember that feeling from the beginning of when I started, of that anger, the meanness, the hurt, everything, to the end. It was like a light bulb kind of came on, and I
Mhm.
was enlightened. And I, in turn, I was weight was lifted, which is,
Yes.
yeah, it was lifted. And that's where you want to go. And then work from there. But one, you have to, I think the very, very first thing you got to do is admit to yourself that there is a problem.
Mhm.
Because
Yep.
but you don't know, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. You know that that wasn't quite right, but here, this is why it wasn't quite right, type thing. So,
Yeah.
if that made sense, it doesn't make this brain dump of
Oh,
mine.
it's giving. Okay, girl, it's giving. Like I am picking up what you putting down, girl. It's true. Like from mom to mom, if you are finding yourself overstimulated, frustrated, short tempered, overthinking, you know, sit with yourself and kind of see where does that all stem from? You
Mhm.
know, think back in times of your life, your young adulthood, your teenage years, big kid, elementary school, little kid, as far back as you can remember feeling that way. When did you feel that way? And kind of see what those memories trigger for you. And like Beach said, just start writing and flowing because our brains, our nervous systems, they're fluid, they're water, our DNA, and it remembers those things. So sometimes we got to shake up the gunk and get it out because we have to break the patterns, the cycles, the indoctrination, the programming.
Mhm.
Okay, what can we do better or differently than the generations before?
Listen to our kids.
Yeah.
Talk to our kids. What, again? Communicate.
Yes.
Um, and I say that so much now because it's also like something that I have to remind myself of, because up until a few years ago, okay, so when me and Preston got back together,
Hmm.
that's when I learned to communicate. That's been what? A little over 7 years, give and take.
Yeah.
That's when I learned to communicate. I was the worst communicator. Like, I couldn't even break up with a dude. Okay. So I ghosted. That was the type of person I am, because I didn't know how to communicate. I was never taught how to communicate.
Hmm.
So with now, and even beforehand, like I've always taught my oldest how to communicate. Like, we got to communicate this. And I've told her I am so jealous of the way she can just sit there and have these amazing conversations with other people and being true to herself.
Hmm.
It comes down to communication. Um, but also, again, not treating them like they're dumb.
Right.
because they're not dumb. Some of the things they may do may be dumb, but we've all been there.
I know I have.
Thank God there was no social media at that time and age.
Right.
Just saying. But yeah, it's really just talking to them like they're human beings and breaking it down to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, breaking it down so they can understand it. Sometimes, and I think, you know what, Beach? That's the thing with communication. Like, people just want to say one sentence or one word, and that's what it is. Sometimes you have to revisit the same conversation for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Different ways.
Well, it's like, with our kids, we have all these set expectations, right?
Girl.
I said, clean up your room. You don't clean it up. You're repeating yourself. How many times have you repeated yourself today alone?
Girl, do you have enough fingers to count? Okay, you might have to put it on fingers, toes, elbows, okay?
Body parts, bones. Let's do bones. No, but the thing is, it's like our kids, they can't process that. Like, I don't know about you. I suffer from ADHD.
I think I do too.
Okay, I have ADHD. And sometimes you got to repeat things to me. Why is it okay that I ask to be, for repetition?
Yes.
But my kids can't?
Yes.
Listening, and, it's okay. We have to let that go. Little gentle reminders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how many times I send gentle reminder messages to my colleagues all the time. It's right there in the computer. You should know it. But no, we all have other things going on. You know what?
Yeah.
Our kids do too.
Yes.
There's so much going on in their life. Like with Little, she has school.
Yeah.
She has dance.
Mm-hmm.
She has therapy.
Yes.
She has all these things. She is really busy. I want to make sure that I'm getting through to her and still giving her those boundaries for herself and for myself, et cetera, all the things. But yeah, it's not, just don't belittle your kids. They're smarter than they are, than we set them out to be.
Yeah. And I think I said this the other day in one of the readings, was the same way that you wanted to be, seen, heard, treated. Do that for your kids, the same way you pick them up and kiss their boo-boos and build them up and do all those things. They need that. Like,
I think, with women like us who have gone through those generational traumas and everything, we forget what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Biggest advice right here. You ready? If you don't know, ask your children.
Yes.
Okay? Ask them.
Because they're going to tell you. Yeah.
They will tell you. I have a core memory that sits with me. It's not a positive one for me, but it's a core memory. And I was probably about 12 years old. And I'd just gotten home from school. And I decided I want to clean the house up. I want Mom to come home from work and be happy that the house is clean. And then that way she can do her mom things. I was so excited about it. I remember her coming through the door, and I got so excited to see her and see what I did with the house, to get those praises and to get the loves. And I went in for a hug. Mom goes, I'm too tired right now. That feeling, okay, has been sitting right here just hurting and hurting. And I was like, you know what? I'm never going to do that to my kids.
Yeah.
Then I became a mom. So then I've come to realize that, and I've done it to both my girls. So again, work in progress, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've come up to me, wanted a hug, and I was just like, I understand where my mom was coming from, where I was just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so overstimulated that I just, no touchy feely, nothing,
Yeah.
So I brushed her off. And then at that very moment, that core memory popped in, and I was like, oh, hell no. I
Mm.
am not going to do that to my kid. And as she's walking away, I grab her and I pull her in and I give her a big hug. What that did for my child
Mm-hmm.
and for me was incredible. I caught myself, and she saw me catching myself making a mistake, and
Mm-hmm.
I fixed it like that. And two, I made her feel loved
Yeah.
and accepted. And at that moment, even though I was so overly stimulated, that love I got from her
Mm-hmm.
really did make me feel better.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not just about them and versus you. It's about us coming together.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, those girls came out of my and um
Yes.
right, they're an extension of me. We were stuck together for 9 months. Let's share that love.
Mm-hmm.
Peace and love, no hate.
Peace and love, no hate. That's right. And that's what I definitely do that too, girl. Like, life is lifing. It's chaotic in here. And I might just pop off and I'm like, whoo, wait. I didn't like that when that kind of stuff happened to me. So I'm like, okay, let me hurry, do whatever. And I take them, sit down, and this was not your fault. This was what was going on in my head. Mommy got a little overwhelmed. When I get overwhelmed, I be yelling. And so I know that probably was scary for you. I don't want you to take it personal. There's nothing wrong with you. I love you. I can listen and see you and hear you now. Like, what do you have to say? And it's just like, man, if most of us got that as children, like, that's a game changer.
Do you know what else that does for your kids though?
Mm-hmm.
You're teaching them to accept responsibility for
Yeah.
their own actions. Because I don't, we got some entitled, we got a lot of entitled little shitlins because of Karen's and Kyle's, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's why. So it's like once you can show them that you made a mistake, you realize that, and you can accept it and change,
Yeah.
right? They're going to follow that.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts the minute they can start understanding these things.
Right.
It starts, in the womb. Let's just
Yeah.
start there. Oop, I shouldn't have eaten that. Sorry, baby. Okay, there's no baby here. But like, sorry, baby. I just had to make that clear.
Woo.
But you know what I mean? It teaches them. Like, I have never once been afraid to tell Big that I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I own it. Because it's about owning that and teaching them to own it. I
Right.
don't know. That's just me. That's just a me thing. I'm no social worker. I'm no therapist. I don't know. But I know what relates to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember those core memories of the way I felt at that moment, whether it was good or bad.
Yeah.
The good ones, I keep it. The
Yeah.
bad ones, I adjust.
Oop.
We'll just say
Just,
adjust.
just throw them in the bin.
Yeah. That's it. How can we turn the negative into a positive, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think admitting you're wrong in, your motherhood, your parenting, to me, that's inner child healing because it's like, I'm not doing the things that were done, I'm doing something else. And another thing I wanted to say, like, if you have problems communicating, there's tons of avenues too to learn better communication styles and techniques. as well.
Sometimes it's just asking those questions, even if it is to yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Ask yourself those open-ended questions, right? Not the yes or no's, but those questions you find out, like, why am I feeling this way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, stop and really think about that. Write those down. And then once you start understanding those, if you can't talk, if you don't know how to communicate, just ask questions. You know, if you're talking to somebody else, ask them questions. And eventually you'll learn how to communicate in one way or another.
Yep. Exactly. Yes, girl. If anything y'all take away from tonight, communication is key.
I said that at the beginning.
Because it really is. Like,
It is in life. Like I used to say, which is really funny because as of just like recently, it's changed.
mm-hmm.
My biggest thing in life was trust. Okay. I struggle with lying and stuff like that. But in actuality, it's not trust. It is communication, because if you can communicate properly,
Mm-hmm.
why should there be lies?
Yeah.
Why should there be like that trust be broken?
Mm-hmm.
I feel that if you communicate properly and in a healthy manner, you're going to build those trust.
Mm-hmm.
So it really starts off with communication. Just like
The communication station.
right. We're changing the podcast. We're going to call it communication station.
Communication station.
Right.
So let me ask you this, girl. Do you agree that most things we think are wrong with us as mothers didn't start with us?
It started from my mama and her mama and the mama before that, and so forth and so forth. Because just like you have said over and again throughout this time, is that DNA, you know, the learned behavior, the patterns, we're mimicking those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, like, sometimes some of us don't realize it. So we stay stuck in that same pattern. You know, in my family, and this is something my oldest told me. She's a very wise one. I don't know where she gets it from.
Her mama.
She's gonna kill me. Anyways, she was telling me that the people who can't break those generational traumas, they just haven't woken up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And they get pissed off at people like myself and like yourself because you're waking up and you're seeing these things. And
Right.
they don't like the changes. They don't like you changing.
Mm-mm.
Because we're supposed to be just like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, with my oldest, I love that she's just like me. But even better, she one up me.
Yeah.
And she's only 22.
Oh, yeah.
And she's going to be the most amazing mother ever. I cannot wait to see her as a mama.
She will be a good mom.
Oh, yeah. Because she has those tools down. You know, she's still breaking. She has her own generational trauma. Like I've given her some of that because from the early on. And I actually did talk to her about that one day. I was just like, where did I miss the mark when you were younger? I know I can't change it now, but I want to be able to change it in the future, moving forward. I don't want to repeat. And she's like, this made me like seriously tear up when she had told me. She's like, Mom, we already worked through all those things.
Oh, yeah.
I already told you what my issues, and you fixed it. And that to me is just like, yeah.
Yes. And you know, I think as mothers, as daughters, sometimes we kind of expect for whoever raised us to like validate our feelings or, hear what we have to say. But really, it's for us to do that inner healing. It's for us to hear and validate and see ourselves. Because in that way, just like you're saying, like we may have feel like we missed the mark, but we've already fixed it. We've already healed that for our babies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. And it's all about perception, right? Because like I wish my mom would understand my perception, how I felt at that moment, that her action or lack of action, what it did to me. But for her, it's all about her perception. Well, this is where I was at, and at least I didn't do this, or at least, whatever. And I found out that our perception doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're the moms.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's about your child's perception. Yeah. All about them. We can validate what they said. Yeah, if that's what you think that's happened, cool. I'm okay with that. I didn't live your life. I didn't see through your eyes.
Right.
Their eyes they see things differently than we do.
Yep. And their perception matters. Their perception matters.
Hey, they're the ones that are going to be running the country in 10 to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 30. I don't know. So we want to make sure we're raising them with their own perception and, taking accountability and responsibility and all of those things and being able to communicate.
Mm-hmm. Because
if they can't do that, where are we going to be left at? In a nursing home by ourselves, wiping or shitting in our pants? No, thank you.
Not these moms.
No. I don't want to be there. But, if I'm teaching my daughters the best things, the most positive things in life, they're going to treat me that way when I'm shitting myself as an old lady. Okay, I'm way.
Girl.
Like, I actually, it's funny. I have this post note I keep on my desk every day. And I look at it, and it's a great reminder. Find the win. It's not just for work. I keep it here literally for everything. With my kids, with my day. When I'm having a horrible mental health day, find the win. I teach my kid, well, you know what? You told me a lot of crappy things that happened today. Tell me a good thing that happened to you. Yes. Tell me your win for the day.
I like that. As a matter of fact, let me write that down.
Find the win. And I'll swap it out. Every few months, I'll change the color of Post-it note, just so it's not just an artifact here on my desk. Something I can remind myself of.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. How do we get our inner child's needs as we are parenting our children and reparenting ourselves?
I kind of answered that earlier. Right? I think it's by adjusting, remembering, that hug thing I was telling you about. I remember that core memory and how I felt. And I almost did that to my kid and made her feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm going to fix that and give her a hug. And you know what? That fixed me. Is that still a core memory? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I made a different core memory with it. Side by side, I have me hugging my girls.
Yes.
Because they just wanted it. Like little, she's a hugger. Yeah. I swear to God, every 15 minutes, She comes in, kind of a hug, kind of a hug. Sometimes it gets annoying. It does, because it's over and over. You know what? Yes, girl, yes. Come. Bring it in. And
Yeah.
and I do it to her too. Like earlier, I just knock on her door and I go in there and I look at her. She's like, "What?" I just want a hug. I just want a hug. Yeah, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
But we have fun.
And we totally married into a family of hugging, back-breaking folk, okay?
Because that goodbye is no joke.
You end up in the hospital messing around with these folks.
It literally takes an hour to leave. So if you want to leave by 7 o'clock, you better be saying goodbye by like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Because there's a time limit.
We gotta wrap this love up, okay?
Yeah. Now we're ahead.
I don't know. We might have covered this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. How can we as mothers acknowledge our children more?
Just talking to them. Another thing, sometimes like we do have crazy lives, right? I already told you, Little's life is busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have her, so she's from previous marriage, and I get her only every other week. So when she gets back, the weekends she wants to be with her cousins, like
Yeah.
obsessed. You don't know anything about that, do you?
I know all about it, girl.
I know. I've seen the text messages and the calls and stuff. But anyways, yeah, she wants to be with them. Cool. So you get to be with your friends or your cousins, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the week goes. She's going to school, doing all this. But I try to make sure to set a day where it's family time.
Yeah.
We put our things away. We let her pick a movie. We'll have dinner and we sit down together. And we'll even eat dinner on the couch or whatever. We're really good about eating in the kitchen, but we'll just do it so we can spend the time together, making that time. And I'm not the best at it. I'm working on it. I'm a whole work in progress. I got the knowledge now. I just got to implement everything, right?
Girl.
But it's not just that. It's the other little things. Like my little loves makeup. She loves skincare.
Yeah.
Like, okay, she's obsessed. That is not even a stretch. But she's obsessed. She's like, "Mom, can we have a spa day?" And usually I'm just like, I'm not feeling too good. I'm tired or I'm in pain. I gotta remember, it's a face mask that I can put on myself for self-care for me and quality time with her.
Yep.
Like, why am I not doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't realize you're even denying them these things until you have conversations or you hear, a TikTok or whatever, another mom talking about it in a mommy group. It's about taking that time. Because a face mask, what, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Am I really trying to say I don't have 10 minutes for my daughter?
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
And you know what? I realize that now, and I'm going to be better about it. And what did I just do again right there? I'm breaking that generational trauma. Oh, look at that full circle.
Ooh, full circle. Yes, girl. I have to do the same thing too because I'm like, oh my gosh, let me hurry and just get this done. Let me get this done. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm a stay-at-home mom. My job is the home. The home's not going anywhere. I can put this on the back burner for a minute and listen to your story or do this with you. So yes, breaking your regular routine just a little bit so they can feel seen, so they can feel heard. Yes, girl.
Right. And
That's listening.
it's I remember with my previous marriage, there I had a stepson, and what the ex and I did, which here's a positive thing, we used to make sure we took our kids out. So I would have a date with my stepson, and
Yes.
he would have a date with his stepdaughter at the time, you know? So we made sure to do those things to make sure we get those one-on-one times. And then we'd reverse it, and I'd have it with my daughter and he would do it with his son and stuff. And I need to remember those things. You know, I'm a homebody. I've become an introvert, and I'm okay with that.
Yes. Protecting the peace.
Right? And it's hard, but you know, having those mommy dates,
Mm-hmm.
they're amazing
Yeah.
because you get to learn about your daughter, your
Yeah.
kids. Like that's when she starts talking to me, and I get to know her a little bit more. And
Yeah.
you need to get to know your children.
Mm-hmm.
You literally do.
Because they're the
Women are,
people.
they are. But what's happening to you're setting that up for when they get older, teenagers, because let's face it, teenagers are assholes. Um,
And they want to still be with you
yes.
because, yeah.
Like, I'm not even joking. My 22-year-old is my best friend and has been my best friend since we were kids. Like, okay, no joke. Gilmore Girls. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
You told me about it, yeah.
I am obsessed. Key is obsessed with it. And that's us. The only difference is I'm mom first, best friend second, where else the Gilmore Girls were friends first, mom second. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I would change. But anyways, her and I, we hanging out with her, having our little dates. I got to know her.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to tell me all the things, like the dark things that I have. She tells me, "Okay, mom, you got to put your friend hat on because I got different hats." And she tells me right away, "Okay, this is a mom hat conversation or a friend conversation." But she'll
Mm-hmm.
tell me, and she, you know, by using those hats, tells me how I'm going to react first off, and how
Yeah.
we can share. Because when I have the friend hat on, mommy can't.
Say
There's
nothing.
nope, because she's opening up. She's being vulnerable with me, and
Yes.
that starting that as a young age, she grew up to trust me and to be open and honest with me. Now, is this 100 foolproof? Whatever? No, it's not.
Because we're human. We're human.
We're human. Had she lied to me? Absolutely. But has she turned around later on and told me really what happened? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell I really love
Yeah.
my oldest.
Yes. I remember growing up here, I'm not one of your little friends. I'm not one of your little friends. But I do. I feel like, in even while they're little, you still have to have that little bit of friendship in there. Yes, you're their parent, you're guiding them, having structure, building them up, helping them learn and educate, all those things. Yeah, but the friendship though, like don't forget about the friendliness.
I still do that even with little. You know, she's 10.
Mm-hmm.
She tells me all the things. Like
Yeah.
we have talked, we're open about things, you know. Has she lied to me? Yes. Did I punish her for it? Absolutely not. I talked to her about it and I explained the why behind it. Do you want to break my trust forever? Like for so I can't trust anything you say. She's like, no, like that actually kind of
Yeah.
caused some anxiety. I was like, okay, then just don't lie to me. Let's be open and honest with each other. I won't lie to you. You won't lie to me.
Period.
And that was done. Like back in the day, way back in the when um Big was little like that, she used to lie to me and she would get punished because that generational trauma. What?
He was catching these hands, honey.
Oh yeah. Like she was telling me, I was always grounded. Well, stop getting into trouble. Do what I tell you to do
Yes.
because it's about me. No, no. Now, with little, I'm able to say, this isn't about me. It's about the person I'm raising you to be. And I want you to be better than I ever was,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And is just talk to them. They're going to be open and honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to know about the boyfriends,
Oh yeah.
or girlfriends, or non-binary friends, whatever. I don't care.
Yup.
Like I was able to tell my oldest. I looked at her when I was like, "You're a lesbo, aren't you?" She looks at me like, "Yeah, I think so. Yeah." All right. But we have that type of relationship where I can talk to her about these things, or she can come to me about it, and no matter what, I'm supportive because that's her life, not my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how people see me.
Mm-hmm.
It's her life, their life, our babies, the littles, the babes. Yeah.
Well, you guys, if you take anything away from tonight, communication is key, honey. Okay. And allow your children to be people and to be seen and be heard. And working on every day just doing better than the day before, that is inner child healing. Extending the same patience, gratitude, and compassion that you wanted to receive as a child, that's inner child healing. Self regulating, okay, reparenting, regrouping, that's inner child healing. And once again, that's going to trickle down to your kids and your relationships, whether you're married, your partner, whatever. And just take it one day at a time, because this stuff, like we said, like, it's not easy. It's an everyday practice, mindful practice.
I've been working on it for 22 years.
Yes.
And I'm still working on it.
Yes. And you can't fault yourself. Hey, Sierra, what's up, boo? You can't fault yourself, but we do better when we know better, and just take it one day at a time. Okay.
That's it.
All right, girl. We answered all these good little questions. And we reached our hour mark, honey.
Holy sheesh kebabs.
I know.
Did it. And I'm still alive.
Video call, right?
What?
It was like just being on video call, right?
For the most part, yeah. Like it really was. But then I'm like sitting here just like, okay, who's watching? Somebody watch me?
Don't look at me.
But
I appreciate you so much for being on. And I
Thanks
can't have you
me.
back.
Thanks for having me, babes. I love you.
I love you too. All right, you guys. We're going to see you next week, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Okay. If you're not subscribed, baby, what are you doing? Okay. And we're going to
for life. Hit that subscribe button.
You better hit it so hard your phone cracks.
I don't know if they'll do that. Not in this economy, honey.
Girl, phones be like a mortgage, okay?
Trust me, I know. I got the mortgage and I got the phones. It's the same.